know you wanted to talk a little bit about H.R. 1 this morning. Is that correct?
We sure can. We can talk about that.
It's dangerous, is what it is. And I don't know, is there any chance of stopping it?
Yeah, so H.R. 1, for people who aren't sure what that is, it's basically a nationalization of the election system so that you do things like ballot harvesting becomes legal, mail-in ballots, not the way we do it in Arizona, but everybody gets a ballot. That goes mandatory national, just a no voter ID, those types of things. It's designed to keep Democrats in power in perpetuity. So the way to stop it is what we're relying on is we're trying right now to get people, members of Congress who might be in a swing district to think twice about voting for it, knowing that there might be some electoral payback in the future. And then on the other side, I'm counting on Mitch McConnell to stop it. Mitch McConnell has taken a pretty strong position against H.R. 1.
Will he still have filibuster power at that point?
Right now, it looks like they will.
Okay.
That's a great question because that's always the threat that the Democrats are making. If we can't get what we want, we're going to go ahead and change the rules. They've done that repeatedly in the House.
Yeah. I don't know if you how much you saw CPAC. I'm assuming you're aware of everything that went on, but President Trump spoke very much about integrity of elections as being a priority, and I think it was voted as the number one priority in the straw polls.
Yeah, so I spoke at CPAC on Saturday, but was back in D.C. Saturday night. The reality is election integrity is that's the fundamental bedrock of a constitutional republic, a representational form of government. If you don't trust the elections, then you can't trust the rest of the institutions because they're run by people who are elected. So think of it this way: you had after the 2016 election, Democrats did not trust the elections, and it carried on over until probably September of last year, when 80% or something of Democrats said they did not trust elections. Republicans, we had a modest amount of mistrust as well. I mean, we didn't really trust them greatly either. But after the election, all of a sudden, Democrats 100% trust the elections, and Republicans 90% don't trust.
Wow.
So when you what it tells Russ, it tells us that there's this whipsaw effect that now people are relying on whoever wins trust the election, whoever lost didn't. That's a bad thing for the American Republic. So we have got to restore election integrity.
We do, and if you remember, out of Georgia, Stacey Abrams would not concede, said she won, even though it was by big numbers, she lost. But now when Trump questioned, it was racist and improper and insurrection.
Yeah, no, that's right. That's part of this whole whipsaw thing going back and forth. The Democrats are always talking about tolerance and justice and equality. But if you disagree with them, or if you dissent, or if you're in the opposition, they are intolerant. Justice is to cancel you.
Yes.
And equality means that you're going to be put in a box somewhere.
Yes. It looks like the House passed the $1.9 trillion stimulus bill. Any chance of it getting through the Senate?
I think it actually because they did it on reconciliation, they can do it with a 51 vote. So there is a substantial likelihood that that's going to pass because the Democrats, they're going to have 50 votes there, and then the vice president's going to come in and be the 51st vote.
I did appreciate the group of Republicans that banded together to introduce a $10,000 stimulus to each citizen instead of a $1,400, and take it away from some of the pork. I thought that was brilliant, but failed, I guess.
Yeah, no, that was a non-starter because there's too much pork in this bill to divert to give $10,000 to American people. I mean, this is just a pork-laden bill. It's 9% of it goes to COVID relief. By the way, there's $1 trillion sitting there from the previous 5 bills that have never been actually allocated or distributed yet. So it wasn't like there wasn't money to distribute. And in a way, there is no money because all of this is being borrowed. So
right.
That's a critical component as well.
We talked about election integrity, but we still have questions about Maricopa County that I guess we're not getting answers, or we're not getting the ability to do an independent audit.
Well, the audit that was, I would not really say that was an independent audit that was done at the behest of the Board of Supervisors. A court came out the other day and said, look, the subpoenas that the state Senate issued to the Board of Supervisors must be complied with. And now, the Board of Supervisors said, okay, well, now we're going to talk to our lawyers and see if we got to comply. I just don't understand why they don't just respond. I mean, my advice to them early on, Russ, was go ahead and do an independent forensic audit, get it out of your hands, just let it go, and you're going to be popular either way, because if it turns out that the election was good, you guys did everything right, and it was an independent audit that everybody could trust and rely on, then it's going to give more confidence that we may have lost, but it was done with integrity. But if you find something wrong, you're going to be heroes, because you will have found something wrong, and you can resolve that now and in the future. So, but now I think we've gone so far. We're pushing 4 months now.
Yes.
That it becomes, neither side is going to be happy with whatever the result is. Now, I think it would have been different 4 months ago.
Now, and I'm kind of surprised by that. There's 4 Republicans on that board that I know. I haven't been able to talk to them, but I'm kind of shocked at what the rationale.
Well, I don't know if they consider me a friend anymore, but I've known those guys, all of them, for years, and
Yes.
thought they were friends, and I still think of them as friends. I just think they made some mistakes in how they handled this thing. But they were getting some advice from counsel that I think was wrong. It was wrong because that I don't know what the council's position or their motivations were. But again, I would have said, let's solve this issue. And they kept saying, well, it's the Kelly Ward lawsuit says we can't share the evidence. Well, you know what? There are cases all the time where evidence is shared.
Right.
And I believe Kelly Ward would have been glad to share the evidence, and the courts could have facilitated it. The key would be to keep the chain of custody of that evidence.
Yes.
That's what makes it important, not that you can't share the evidence.
The border security, very disappointed. I was hoping when President Biden took over that the contracts in place would at least be cleaned up and finished, but it looks like they stopped right in the middle of construction and left material on the ground, walked away. Any chance of at least completing some of the holes, or are we just stuck in like neutral?
Well, with the fencing, I've been told that they're considering in some places finishing areas that they've started. But Russ, I visited all along the border just a few weeks ago. Not Yuma area, from Nogales to Naco to Douglas, et cetera, in that central corridor there, Tucson sector, from Sassabee over. And I will tell you, the contractors had actually put in roads to facilitate putting up fence, and they had been taking down some of the barbed wire fence, 4-strand wire fence that's there. And they have all their bollard fencing segments ready to go, and then they have to stop. And they literally had to stop. And so now there's nothing there.
Wow.
So so now where they had put new bollard fencing comes to a stop, and then on the other side of it, because they were getting ready to put up the next day, for instance, all of that 4-strand wire is gone. So now you just look at it and say, nothing. There's nothing there.
We're one of the states obviously is going to get hit first, with the illegal immigration, and it's coming across the border already. And already in Yuma, they started a week or two ago of releasing people into Yuma. And of course, the concerns of safety. We know that everyone that comes across are not the same. I mean, some are criminals, some want to work, some who knows, drug peddlers, coyotes. We're not vetting anything. Is that just something we're going to live with, or is there other plans to start looking at the security, even COVID security?
Well, I saw your mayor actually joined other mayors along the border and said, please don't release them back into the community, because you guys got hit hard last time in 2019, in the spring of 2019.
Right.
And I have got to be quite frank with you. I don't think that they're going to do much. I mean, I've talked to Customs Border Patrol agents, and nothing official. I mean, they won't officially take a position, but on the down low, they're very, very concerned because MPP program is gone. They're basically going to be citing and releasing again, catching and releasing again. The incentives and magnets are there. Already you're seeing a spike in unaccompanied minors. They're expecting to catch a record number over the next few months. You're seeing the opening of detention facilities for minors that had been so castigated when President Trump had them. Well, the Biden administration's opening them back up. I'm really concerned. I'm concerned about all along our border, the towns and cities that have ports of entry that don't have the services.
Right.
You have limited services to deal with these, and like you say, we don't know who else coming in. You've got health issues as well as a potential criminality.
And then our little community takes the burden of the cost.
That's right, and the feds don't give enough to support both money and resources. So I'm really concerned about what's going to happen there, and I'll be back down the border in a few weeks.
Well, good.